Okay, I posted my mistake video, but I finally fixed it. I forgot to reset the matrix system. Yeah, now it actually works properly. You can see I'm doing this matrix system as a debug to test the 3D capabilities of the HUD system. I actually refactored the entire thing to work fully in 3D with with help to a Stack Overflow. It was just one post. Somebody said one thing, and it was just to clear this. I got my renderer. Where is it? GL clear the GL depth buffer bit. When you do that, it actually basically creates a new canvas. It's really crazy. You can see that everything is actually fully working, and you can even see by the bottom this is holographic. There's one minor problem though, and this is simply a problem in the fact that the rendering system for the mesh creation of the world isn't completed. If I do this, there you go. You can see it looks a little weird, honestly, but you know, it's still debug, and you can see that the water is actually you know, it's holographic too, which is kind of cool, honestly. Oh yeah, there's a world selection thing now. It's very nifty. And of course the Steve head. Yeah. So basically, very difficult to think about, but right now there is technically two three-dimensional worlds happening at once. And that's why the geometry no longer clips through everything anymore, because essentially what happens is I have two shader programs, but I no longer need them. Well, I need one. They're the same shader program, basically. I thought I needed two, but I don't, because I could just manually tell the GPU and OpenGL to clear the buffer bit depth. And that creates a secondary canvas. Everything that gets rendered after that becomes a secondary canvas unit, which is what you're seeing right here, actually. This is basically four-dimensional environment. It's very strange to talk about, but you know. And you could say it's six-dimensional because there are other dimensions on top of this, basically being rendered multi-dimensionally. But you know, it's basically 4D because you have that other dimension of your screen. So that's pretty cool. And the rotation is completely, well, it's completely separate from the world where you're looking. You know, it works pretty well. Also, it scales nicely. This is my favorite part. I'm pretty sure I can get it to scale really small. And even if your monitor is like this bit, well, not that big. You know, I can't make this for MS-DOS machines, but I can make it for this resolution. Also, it seems to work on ultra-wide. Okay, this is a little ridiculous, but you can see that the world FOV is ridiculous, but the GUI system actually works perfectly, and I'm really happy with it. Honestly, it's very nice. I could definitely build upon this, and this is what I was stressing out about, because this is why I took a little break, because I didn't want to just start throwing stuff into the game engine, and I wanted to have something good to build off of. And you can see, if you look closely, right, look at the Steve's head. See how right there, right here and here, you can see how it clips through the crosshair. And I accidentally did this, but it's a great example of what's happening, because if you turn that off, the crosshair looks like it's just two-dimensional static display units, but this is actually being held in three-dimensional, so you can create crazy stuff. I don't even know where to begin with creating three-dimensional stuff, but what this allows me to do is I can actually create nine-dimensional systems. If I clear the GL buffer bit again, I can actually draw on top of this HUD in another three-dimensional plane, which is kind of ridiculous to think about, and I'm not going to think about that. But what's going to happen is now I can render a wheeled item on the right, and I can push it back away from the HUD so that the HUD does not conflict with the wheeled hand and the wheeled item, and I can make custom animations and custom things, and I can make custom rotational things. This is actually what this is a prototype of. This is the Steve head, and I'm using the block box manufacturing system that I made, basically a factory worker, but this is going to be a little bit more customized. There's a lot of stuff. I don't even know where to start talking about it. Basically, what you're seeing here is going to be up here, and I'm going to make it customly look at your character. Your character is going to look at your cursor, is what I was trying to say. And since this scales perfectly, since there's a three-dimensional, basically in a simulation of 2D and 3D, since it's already transposed into 2D. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to explain that. Basically, the HUD is always in front of the world. So it's pretty nifty, actually. This means that I can actually have 3D items in the world, like name tags or players, and name tags for animals and stuff like that, while still having another three-dimensional plane reserved for only the players to see. So another player, even though this is actually technically, very, very technically rendered three-dimensionally in the world, only by technicality, nobody else can see your inventory, you know. And I'm not even sure if I can actually say that this is rendered in the world, because it's very difficult to think about. It's basically what's happening is a second rendering program is happening, but that's not actually what's happening. It's way too much to explain, you know. Basically, the GUI is a separate system. There you go. That's what I probably should have said in the beginning. But as you can see, this will never clip, ever. The only thing that's going to clip is that Steve head through the crosshair. And yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. So I'm really excited to get this going and create a prototype. Oh yeah, I gotta fix this. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you can keep looking around like that. That's a simple fix. When you press the E button, all I have to do is instantly move it to the center, and you won't get that jolt anymore. So I'm going to fix the view bobbing soon, because the HUD system and the GUI system is my main focus right now. After I get all that fixed, what I can do is move on to the third person, and then what I can do after that is move on to the rendering system, so the water renders properly. I'll do a specific liquid system for this. And then after that, let's see, what else do I got? After that, I can work on saving the world to a disk, which is going to be a learning experience. And then after that, I can implement basically infdev. I'm going to use the same names that Minecraft used, because they make a lot of sense in the aspect of a voxel block, whatever you want to call this, node world. Then after that, we can experiment with multiplayer. IntelliJ has a built-in Java swing utility, so I can create a basic rudimentary system. The way that it's going to be it's very difficult to explain this, because I know what's going to happen, but I don't know how to tell you guys. The gist of it is the server is going to handle stuff differently than the clients will, since the clients are ultra lightweight. They can take a lot of shortcuts. Like basically, if a player moves, I can move the chunk around them, and create pseudo infinite like Minecraft and Minetest do by just moving their locations, stuff like that. And then, yeah, what I might be able to do is use the chunk updater utility and then send out network data, and then whoever is within these boundaries, their chunks get updated, and if they walk outside of them, and the server just saves it to the disk, and then it moves on. It's I get a lot of stuff that I'm thinking about with it. It's a little overwhelming, so I just go and play Forza, and then I think about it while I'm playing Forza, and that's about it. So, what else is there? All I got is this inventory screen that doesn't do anything, and as Steve said, oh yeah, you can see that the I forgot to mention this in the last video. I think I did a video on this. I'm not sure, but you can see that the mouse automatically gets unlocked and all that good stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to implement the F11 key like in Minecraft to automatically full screen the application, because that's extremely useful. And yeah, I don't really know what else I could say. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot to say. There's a cursor now. First of all, I didn't think I even showed this. So I'm already 11 minutes into this video. I didn't show this. There's a cursor. There's 3D capabilities for the GUI, and there's a world selection. Now the world selection is actually very interesting because in my test, whoops, sorry about that. I actually just twisted my microphone because it started like bending. But in Minetest, what happens is from what I understand, Spawn5 told me is that when you dig, the selection cursor basically has to be rebuilt in the world. So for some reason, I'm not specifically sure what he meant by that. But what I can do is actually what I'm doing right now, and you can see that this does not get rendered until you actually are looking at something. It's pretty nifty. And what I can do is when you start mining, I can implement a calculator, basically inverse from Minetest. The higher the level of the block, the longer it takes, etc., etc. Minetest's definition of their what they call nodes, what I call blocks in my game, is extremely different. What I'm going to be implementing, for some reason in Minetest, the lower the number level, the faster it is, I think it was. I've completely forgot. All I know is that adding in new levels is a pain in the ass in Minetest, because you have to completely redefine everything else instead of it being a leveled system. And so what I'm going to do is create an auto leveling system that you can utilize to basically just drop shit into the game. There you go. Basically every step I take, I think about my difficulties I had with the Minetest engine and trying to fix these problems, because you know, most of you guys who watch my videos probably know what the Minetest engine is, and you've probably played Minetest game modes and all this other stuff, and you probably have dabbled into mods and know how confusing it can be. Especially, I tried to dabble back into it, and I don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. I could barely define the blocks. But basically, I want to make it just as simple as possible while maintaining extreme flexibility and performance. That's the gist of my game, and that's why I want to make it a game engine but a game at the same time, because I don't like the gist of having just a game engine and then depending on other people to build around your game engine. because that's how Mind-Test game became what it is today, and that's why it's so awful. And you don't want to have generics like that. You need to have a base rollout game, and that's why you're seeing me develop, well, not only my own game engine, but my own game at the same time in my own game engine, because I know what I want to do. I know it would be helpful, and I'm trying to do the best of my abilities to make it so that anybody can just take this, you know, drop mods into it, and drop some jars into it, and completely customize the game. Um, the only thing that I have to solve is jar implementation, like in Forge in Minecraft, and like the mods in Terrasology, because I actually tried to get Terrasology working um, the other day, actually for a couple hours, and nobody could solve my issue. I even installed Java 8, and it just didn't work, so I don't know what's up with that. But like in Mindtest, you can just drag and drop folders into the game, and basically be modular like that. Um, Eventually, I'm going to take all of my written like blocks and stuff and my terrain generators, rip them out, put them in a compiled jar, and then ship them by default. So you can just take that jar or go to the GitHub and get the source code of the game mode, rip it out, or I'm sorry, take the source code and clone it or download it, open it up in IntelliJ or NetBeans, whatever you use, modify it to your heart's content, and then have it auto build a jar into the mods directory, so you can always, basically like you do in Mindtest, where you just make mods and you just keep testing them. I do have one thing planned. I'm not gonna say what it is. I said what it is in my Discord, but I don't want to say what it is on YouTube because it would be extremely difficult to build. But we'll see how that goes. I think I literally covered everything. I got every single thing. You still can't place blocks inside of you, which is nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, why not give it a like? And if you want to see more, why not subscribe? I do have a Patreon. It's on my YouTube banner. And I'll see you guys the next one. Peace out.